today's day 3. We want to start going into a little bit of the curriculum. I was able to secure us a really good overview video from someone very high up in Salesforce. It's a 40-minute video. They'll give a complete walkthrough of the Salesforce user experience design position. Then there was a gentleman at Salesforce that's just so super duper. He has like, I think 800,000 points, a bazillion badges, a bazillion. We'll take a look at his profile. Then there was someone that actually created a like a 15-minute curriculum based on that individual's Salesforce approved Trailhead test. What's cool about that is I believe we'll be able to watch the 10-15-minute curriculum and then actually take the test in real time. So we're going to share the links. And what you can then do is, I believe today will be the day, assuming all goes well, that every one of us will be able to accumulate our first Salesforce points, which would be really super cool. Also, I've been going through the material and I have been going through it all and then designing 10 to 20 questions, most probable questions per chapter with the correct answer. And I'm going to offer them as flashcards. I do need to go find a resource that will allow me to create flashcards, but I super expect that should be easy. Like go on Google and type in flashcard maker. I don't think that'll be difficult. In which case I do want to provide that to each one of us for each chapter we work on. I then would also like to go ahead and marry that with a tutorial, right? Like a visual tutorial or a hands-on training. Because you could know as much as you'd like to know in terms of black and white, in terms of like words, but if you don't know how to actually do it on the computer, well, then that's not really a very good thing. So we will have it completely available starting tomorrow for the first couple of chapters, that everyone will have flashcards to follow through, because I find that reading the chapters are actually quite boring. And then I also, like I said, want to marry it with real world know-how. Whether that means I pull up my personal sales account, Salesforce sales account, and we go through it, or we go ahead and secure some tutorials, we will get it done. So today, let's just kind of kick our feet up a little bit. Let's get a complete overview of what the position entails, because again, there is a structured curriculum to this. Day 1, orientation. Let's get ourselves set. Let's go ahead and make sure we take care of our finances. Let's make sure we take care of our schedule. Let's go ahead and make sure that we customize that 21-day schedule for us, which, by the way, it is very easy to maybe just show up at 11 o'clock or maybe just watch these 3 hours of videos, which we haven't done 3 hours and we're not going to do 3 hours again today. We will start tomorrow though. But you also have to be doing the requisite eating, the exercising, the going to sleep. All of it is holistic, right? If you want to go ahead and change your life, and not change, but improve it, well, you have to improve all of it. You cannot just improve, hey, I'm going to improve my car from a Honda to a Ferrari without subsequently improving, say, your income, right? Like without subsequently improving other things as well. You cannot just improve one thing. So if you have not really gotten started on that lifestyle change yet, do it. If it means that I'm going to have to start posting videos of me doing it, I will. But if you're serious about this, you need to do every part of it. You cannot just pick and choose the parts you'd like to do. All right, so let's get into it. I'm going to start off with that first video. It is a YouTube video, so I'm going to have to moderate it a little bit. I'm sure there'll be an ad or two that pops up. I'm sure there'll be a banner or something that pops up. So I'll be right here. But let's get started. I'm hopeful that today might be only an hour 20, hour 30. And the goal is that everyone goes ahead and accumulates some points. So we'll watch the video first. Well, actually, you know what? I'll give everyone the link to their membership account. And then let's go from there. So let's do a share screen. Okay. So here I am. So I'm going to go to member login, which is everyone on this call. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go into our chat. I'm going to go to everyone and paste it in. When you go ahead and click that, you'll be exactly where I'm going right now. I'm just doing it through the admin login and brings you right to Rhino Hub. Now, yesterday I said that I was going to change this on a daily basis to fit what we're working on. I then took a second thought of it and realized that this video will live on past this 21 days, meaning I'll never be able to actually have this to be the right thing for each individual every single day. So I will change it to something that's more immediate, more real-time news, more things that one would want to know the day of. Since we're the inaugural group, just bear with me. I have to figure out the greatest thing to make that, but we will. So now that we're here on the main page, we want to go to Career Training Certification Placement, Certification Programs, and we're working with SalesForce. So we go to SalesForce and we go browse right now, and that's going to bring us to our login. So as you can see, I'm logged in here, and then I can scroll down and I could get in where I need to go. So Salesforce Designer is where we want to go. So just make sure you get to that part, because there is a different trailhead that we will be pursuing. And like I said, it's from an individual person. So I will share that as well in the chat. Now, mind you, for those that are watching this past this inaugural, this will be in your email in the morning, so you'll be able to pull it up right away. So everyone at this point, regardless if you're watching this in 2045 or you're watching it today, February 15th, 11:07 a.m., 2023, you will have everything needed. So that is that. Let's go ahead and we're where we need to be. Let's pull up the YouTube. And I'm actually going to shut camera off for myself for a little while, and let's get right into it, but I will be moderating for everyone. Okay, let's move this down and let's get started.
Today we are going to talk on Lightning UX design process. We are going to cover multiple things. This is the title of the presentation. And little background about myself. You can hear me, right? Okay. So today, me and my friend Prag will be accompanying me here. We both will be taking you into a deep dive into what is the UX process is all about. And as we are into the time constraint, we could not able to take you to the complete details, but we will make our best time out of that, and we will make you good shape with presentation and all. So little background about myself. I'm Aditya Podkuchi, working as lead engineer at Grubhub. I have 11 plus years of experience and 15 certifications, and I'm pursuing for my CTA exam. And I run Schaumburg user group, which is suburbs of Chicago, and that is my Twitter handler. And this year I became a Lightning champion. And you can connect me in Twitter and LinkedIn for any questions or queries or anything related to UX process or anything related to Salesforce. And now Prag will explain about himself.
Hello everyone, my name is Prag, and I'm the Salesforce practice lead in a consultancy called CloudKettle. CloudKettle is a registered Salesforce Silver partner. I run the Halifax Salesforce community in Canada. I also have a decade of experience and hold 6 Salesforce certifications. Lastly, I'm also a co-founder of a program called Salesforce Cohort. I've been recently recognized as a Quip champion, so if you have any questions related to Quip, feel free to reach out to me. All right, so if you haven't seen this slide before, you will be sick of seeing this by end of Dreamforce, but what it essentially says is, Salesforce is a publicly traded company, and please make sure that you always make the purchase decision based on what is currently available as a feature and functionality in Salesforce. Okay, let's jump on to agenda today, and I will let Adi to start with agenda.
All right, thanks, Prag. So like I said, today we are going to cover what is UX and some of the flaws that we always see in our real world as well as digital world. This shouldn't be look like this. This has to be in a better way, that type of attitude. So those some of the examples that we will cover, and we will explain what is the process that you have to follow for a good UX designing process, and what all tools that you can consider in your day-to-day work. And we will take a small example, like a demo kind of thing we want to show why UX is an important factor when you are designing a system or when you are creating a product. and then we will show you the demo. After the demo, we will show you a brief intro about what all Salesforce is providing us. After that, we will be providing the content that is available already in the Salesforce. So in the audience, how many people are from admin background? How many admins? Okay, how many are from development background? Wow. How many are architects and program managers, directors? How many are none of them? All right. If we need to take an exact definition, what exactly mean by user experience? It's a human first way of designing a product, right? It's not, you can consider the product as a system that you're designing on Salesforce or a web application or a product that an idea come to your mind and you're working on that product and you want to launch to the end user, right? So how you want to give that product to the end user is the main thing that you will consider as UX. So if you consider UX and UX designing, UX is nothing but what you're giving to the end user, interactive way, how he is going to use the product, right? You can consider in a different manner that like you want to see the mental ability of the end user and how he is going to use the system or the application. Say you given an application to the user and it's all confusing to him and he has to spend more time on that. No, you're not giving a good UX user experience for him, even though the product has like n number of features, like lot of features, right? And what is the designing approach that you are going to take to give a best experience to the user is nothing but user experience design. So, like as mentioned, if you're not considering the end user in your entire process, in your designing process, and you're not giving a best product for the end user. So you have in your entire process of designing to delivering a product, you have to keep one thing in your mind that end user is the key person and what I'm going to give to the end user is most important and how he is going to use the system is most important. If you are not considering that, then you are not following a best user experience design process. Now, coming to the, we want to cover some of the real world flaws. So how many of people see this type of signs when you're entering into elevator? You always see that, right? So you don't know which one is the button, like up arrow or down arrow, which one is the button, unless someone clicks that, oh, this is the button. Instead of showing like this, they can use only 2 buttons, right? Then immediately you know like, okay, I need to go up means you can click up, you need to go down, you can click down. How many of you see this type of, yeah, we all see this, we all pay attention towards that and we always feel like who the hell designer or who designed this elevator, right? We always say that. Who all see these type of machines when you want to pay for a parking ticket and you need to get your train or you need to get into your bus, you need to shuffle like, okay, where I need to put my bill, where I need to get credit card, right? These are all like, these machines or elevators are working fine. They are giving end user what they want, right? They are working machines. But the way those are designed is the wrong way of designing, right? They shouldn't design like that. They have to make user life easy rather than wasting their time. This is a real example. It happened in one of the country where it says like, please keep left, but the footsteps are showing towards here. So one of the UX designer posted that in Twitter that this is the best example that I see here today on that evening. So one of the UX designer posted that in Twitter. So we captured that. Excellent, right? Excellent construction. So I don't know what he thought when he designed that plan on his paper. Again, we all love Starbucks, okay? Safe harbor statement, I'm not making fun of anything here, but the designer who designed that onto the van, he's an excellent designer, but he didn't thought of once the door opens, how it looks like. He didn't thought of that. So these are some of the things to make you understand like why UX is important for your real world. Rag, why can't you explain about digital?
Yes. So we definitely want to cover certain digital flaws because most of us are walking, not looking into the road, we are looking into our mobile phones wherever we walk. So we want to cover certain digital flaws as well. So I want to start with this. So how many of you from 1980s, 90s version of Windows Yeah, Windows Office. So you know, Windows are very powerful, but they always give a lot of tools, but at the same time, they didn't do a better job olden days on positioning the tools and the options you get. So when I first started looking into the computer, and this is where I have been handed over, and I don't know how to use a tool to even a copy paste. By then I don't know the hotkeys. So it struggled a lot, and when I was looking for example, this is what I found, and I want to make sure that I want to share this with you guys. So before I move on, I want to position the examples, what I'm going to show here as a digital flow into 4 different ways. Number 1, that's what I showed you, which is tools. Number 2, a better way of error handling. I believe 90% of people in the room would have experienced this, and specifically when you are in rush, when you're trying to book a table or book an appointment, you will get an error message which you don't know what it means, and you will be frustrated. Right? So the better way of handling it is to handle or follow a better error handlers. Number 3, responsive. So how many of you are still facing a non-responsive websites? At least a couple of them in the group, right? So on the left-hand side, we want to take a real example where the website is an amazing and powerful when you open it on a desktop or on your laptop. But if you're trying to open the same thing on your mobile phone, that is how it looks like. So you should be very, very cautious before you make any UX design. You should think about mobility, whether you can use it on a bigger screen or a smaller screen, doesn't matter, it should fit into the right place. Lastly, a network error, like 90% I believe, like would have ended up, even today, we always get a network error which is 200 or 300, we don't know what it is. All right, so this is one of the process we recommend that if you follow in a sequential order, you will avoid certain UX flaws. I'll start with number 1. You should always think about what is the problem statement you are handling to make your product, right? As an example, you should always discover why it is a requirement. What our customer is gonna get benefited if we're gonna provide the solution. So our recommendation is invest more time on doing discovery phase rather than start building it right away. Number 2, define. So you should define yourself that the UX design process or the UX development, what you're going to make is going to solve the problem. That is step 1, of course, because that's a requirement. But you should always take 2 steps back and see, okay, what are all the other features I can add as part of this requirement? So that is when you will start defining your solution. Number 3, then you started sketching your product. So again, Ari have some cool slides in the which is upcoming, where you can see different tools you can use to do sketching. But our recommendation is you should sketch either using a physical 3-dimensional paper pen or use any of the cool software tools, but you should start with sketching before you build anything. And then you have to refine it by doing an user testing. So when we say user testing, don't get confused that is in UAT, it is not that. So once you finish your sketching, consult with your consultant or consult with your clients and try to understand whether that is exactly what they are looking for. Make sure you take the time, explain them what they are going to be expecting as a product in a simple proof of concept way, and then start building from there. Lastly, deliver it by having different iterations of your refined solution and deliver it to your client. Then, so now we assume that we started following all the process, whatever we recommended. A developer thinks like, perfect. So I followed all the 5 steps and my solution is the world's best solution. And again, Adi already asked how many developers are in the room. Of course, everybody agrees that we are the best developers, even though we are friends. I will always challenge Adi that I'm the best developer compared to his code.
Every developer challenges that.
Exactly. It's a developer's mindset. And again, there is nothing wrong. We should have that attitude. That's the only thing which will drive us. Then, it's a tester. Okay, a tester is doing like, he thinks like, he or she thinks like they are doing a regression testing and have tried all the means, but still they didn't able to break it. So this never happens in a real world, but still this tester is giving credits to the developer. They say, hey, you have built one of the best design. But once we deliver it to the client, when they start trying to do something, this is exactly what it happens, right?
Accept it, right? We accept that.
So you may think like why we have the last one is because you assume that you are built in a dance floor. Okay, the purpose of dance and the dance floor is to make sure their feet is visible. But even though if you are practiced to do a moonwalk, if you didn't design the dance floor properly, this is what you will expect. Okay, so make sure you are designing it for the right people, and to avoid all this problem, that's where we want to introduce collaboration. So you should collaborate as a consultant or a developer or an even unit tester. You should always collaborate before you deliver the final product. Make sure that you are covering all the test cases. Make sure you're asking, don't resist yourself by asking simple questions. All the big answers are from a simple question, right? So here we are recommending certain collaborative tools, and seeing the timer, we have only 26 minutes, and I don't want to talk about each and every collaboration tool. If you have any questions about the list of collaboration tools, please come see us after the session. Now, in this digital world, and of course using the fancy word fourth industrial revolution, we always need things faster. So when you need things faster, you have to develop things faster. And that's when we want to step into two technical version of this session, where we're going to explain how you can build a fancy and a powerful UX experience using Salesforce. So now I want to give back to Adi, and he will cover how you can leverage Salesforce using UX design.
Thank you. Right, so we all started Salesforce using Salesforce Classic, right? Even though some of the people are moving to Lightning, we all started using Salesforce with classic version of Salesforce. How many people started using Salesforce from S controls? Oh my God. Oh. So unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to work when I entered into Salesforce. I didn't get a chance to work on S controls, so I could not able to get some examples so that I can put on this slide. But I started my career into Salesforce with Visual Force, Apex Language, and all. So we all know we all used all Visual Force components when we were designing, right? So we are not talking about the point and click things here. So we designed application with using Visual Force components. All these are like different tags, different components I put on one slide so that I can show you. So these are all the components that we used, right? We used here. Now Salesforce provided us equivalent components in one of the weapon you can consider, where you can just use all these components, and they created the equivalent component for us we can reuse. So before I enter into the actual content, I want to show you, we all love reality, right? Rather than I explain you like, okay, these are the things, go this URL and do this, and or just read these documents and all. We all love to see demos, right? Real-time example you show me, then I will say like, okay, whatever you're saying is right, and I agree, and I will learn that, right? So without any delay, I just want to quickly jump to demo. Demo also, rather than I take some example and explain, as Prag is a foodie guy, I know, and you want to search for a food, right?
Yes.
Okay, what type of food you want to search?
So today is a concert day, one of the biggest day in Dreamforce. So I would get some spicy food so that I can be kicked and hit the party tonight.
Good. So now we know our problem statement. So he wants to search food, right? So we want to split this into 3 different categories. So search pattern and selection pattern and how you display the data, right? So these are the 3 levels we split up, and we want to explain like in each pattern how you need to think. Say he need to search for food, right? So in the application, say I provided a text box with a search box. Now he want to search for Indian food. So he will type Indian and he clicks search button, right? So is it a good way of giving him an option to search? He can put test, he can put ABC, he can put a JavaScript code inside that, and he can just click search button. Yeah, monkey testing. So they will do that. So that is not a good way of giving end user that he has to think, he has to type, rather than system has to tell him like, okay, what you want? Here are the things that I'm giving to you. In that you select, right? That is the innovative way you can. Say, I used a lookup field on my criteria. So he has to type here, he has to click this magnifier button, Again, a pop-up will come. There he has to search for the item, what he want. Then he has to click search button. One way it is good, but multiple clicks he has to, right? A pop-up comes. Again, I need to search, click search button, select that. Then I need to click search button. Okay, but not the right way of giving him the option for search. Say, what if I give him a pick list where he can just select from my restaurant or whatever the food items or cuisines, everything I'll put on a big giant list box and I added here and he need to scroll and he has to select. Yes, of course he can type here so that automatically it will select Indian or Italian. If I want, it will go to Italian, but not a innovative way, because once he sees the giant pick list value, he will go frightened like what I'm doing here, right? What if I combine the pick list value with an innovation, right? Say I want Italian. See, I want Indian. It is giving me, even though I have like thousands of records in my pick list, but it is, as soon as I started typing, it is sorting the results, whatever that I want, so that I can select like what exactly I want. That is an easy way that he can search. What if after searching for my food, I want to have some selections. Specifically, I want to select veggie food or non-veg food or vegan, something like that. What if I provided him a multi-select pick list? End user don't know by looking at that big box that he has to hold a control button to click non-veg also, so that then only it will select non-veg. See, now I'm holding my control and I'm clicking veg and non-veg. End user don't know. End user don't have that much patience. Like, okay, he came there to search for something. He didn't came there to understand the system and write a thesis on that. No, right? So we need to think end user. What if I use checkboxes? We all know checkboxes, that's self-explanatory. I want veg, I select veg. I want both veggie or non-veg options. I select pop, automatically the selections will tell that. Another good way of representation, the same things as like button way, right? I can select veg, non-veg, vegan. These are the options I want to see. With a Indian cuisine, veg, non-veg, vegan options I want to see, so that I want to see my search results. So this is the best way to make him understand the system and use the system. Like easy manner, just click.
But I will hate a system if I get something like this. I have to do so many clicks.
Or else I just select this, okay? After doing all this, he want to see the results. Say, I did all that and I click search button. This is the list I got, all the list of cuisines and food. Now I want to know like, oh, this one is saying like, okay, paneer butter masala, fine, but how it looks like, how it prepared. I want to know more details. Then I need to click this view button so that a pop-up will come. There I want to see all the details means, no. Why I need to see a pop-up, again close, again click on one more dish, again a pop-up, understand what exactly the dish is. That's not a good way of representation. The good way is if we combine all these things into one page with a good representation, is right? I provided here, say I'm typing Indian food, like butter masala, I know. So non-veg item, and he want to throw a party after the session. He want to go to room and he want to call all the friends, come to my room. My presentation went well, we want to celebrate this. So he will select like catering options. Okay, he will select catering and he just click that search button. Then automatically it will display all my, even though it's a prototype, even though I selected it showing paneer butter masala, don't select how come paneer butter masala is a non-vegetarian. No, it's a vegetarian. So this is a prototype, okay? So it's not a working solution, it's a prototype. So if you display like this with image and the description of that and you like it, just click order, automatically your order will be placed. This is the best way of representation, like what he want, why he came here and what he want, you are getting here. If you include all these things in a standard Visualforce page, like if you are not into Lightning, how it looks like. To make you understand, I created this one, so I included everything. It looks like this, but not the innovative way, intuitive way, right? So we used all these components, whatever SalesForce provided. We haven't written any CX designs or any styling or anything we didn't apply it. because Salesforce heard from all the customers, all the partners. They said like, you're giving all the things, but our mobile application is looking different and our web application is on Lightning, and our customers are asking like, why these are like two different things. So do my designer has to spend more time on to copy all your styles, all your what are the components you're creating? It's a rework and time consuming and a lot of money, right? So Salesforce heard all this feedback from them, and they spent a lot of time, like years of time on this, and they provided us Lightning Design System. So if you go to this website, Lightning Design System, if you are a designer or a developer or a business analyst or a product guy, you will have everything whatever you want to make end user experience better, best, I would say. This is the site you have to land. So what you will get in this website is platforms. What type of platform you are using? Visual4, if it is a Visual4 page, how you can use Lightning Design System on your Visual4 pages. They explain everything here. You don't need to worry about like how to use and what to use. If you are using Lightning, they explain everything here, how to use Lightning Design System. If you are designing an Android app or an iOS app, what all things you have to consider to use Lightning Design System on your Android app or iOS app. They explained everything, they combined everything here. And also the design guidelines, like how you have to design and what all things that you have to consider when you are designing a system, that also they explained here. Rather than I explain all these things one by one, you explain with your experience what all things that you cover.
Sure, thank you. So as Adi mentioned, SLDS. So how many of you heard the acronym SLDS? Perfect, thank you. So SLDS is, the explanation is a Salesforce Lightning Design System, and I would compare it as a framework where you can add it as part of any platform. It doesn't need to be you have to, you can use SLDS only on your Salesforce platform, but if you're using Heroku and if you are building any other application which is not Salesforce platform based, you still can have the same Lightning user experience by having SLDS added to your application. So as he mentioned, these are all the different platforms you can use. But before I start giving you some examples and the power what SLDS website is providing you as a user interface way, I want to cover the 4 key guidelines what SLDS is solving if you add or if you adopt SLDS as part of your application. Number 1, clarity. It will add a lot of clarity to your application. Number 2, efficiency. It is very efficient because you are not building anything from scratch, right? Think about you have to design a button which should magically change the way it looks if you're opening on an mobile device versus your desktop. So if you're familiar with CSS properties, you have to write the different classes for each and every devices. But when you are using SLDS, it does all the magic and it will take care of it, everything at the back end. Number 3, consistency, which is what I also explained. And lastly, the beauty. So how many of you don't like the Lightning experience? So this is the answer I was looking for. Yes, everybody understands there are certain lags in Lightning, but Salesforce always evaluates, right? So now it is in the process of evolving Lightning, and I see that most of our clients are enjoying the Lightning user experience. There's gonna be a little bit lag, but Salesforce is working really hard on fixing everything, and that's why they have a program like Lightning experts and champions, and Adi is one of them. But anyway, I'll stop giving boring lectures and I will take you to a quick walkthrough of what are all different components you can use. So as an example, I picked combo box because this is one of the components we use in our demo, and I want to show you within like 10 minutes we introduce and build that entire component because of SLDS. So once we decided that we're gonna add a combo box, we landed here and you have to go down and start seeing the code. So you don't have to write each and every line. You go here, that's a reference, you can copy and then you can refer it in your Lightning Aura component or a Lightning Web component. And then on the top right corner, you have a button where it will take you to the Lightning component page where this is going to be more explanatory, and it will have a split of your components and controllers. So the example what you're seeing here is on the Aura component side, and again Salesforce is keep on evaluating, and they're slowly moving from Aura component to Lightning Web component. And when Adi asked the S control, I was in a situation where I have to fix a problem in S control. So I do remember how hard the olden days were. So from S control, a bunch of developers worked really hard to migrate everything to Visualforce, and then most of the developers here know how hard it was moving your Visualforce pages to Aura components. And now Salesforce is helping you by providing more features so that it's easy for you to move to the latest version of Salesforce. So I don't want to spend too much time on Aura components. I want to jump on directly to Lightning Web component and how this website is going to help you having a more interactive way of learning and also seeing the results right there before you start building it for your business processes. So to do that, go to view as Lightning Web component, which is again a button on the top right corner. And after you click that, 90% of the components, whatever we have on SLDS, have this feature embedded as part of the website. So when you land here, so this is a live interactive editor where you can actually add value, and it started compiling. I didn't click even a button to compile it. It automatically compiles, and it started throwing you error whether you are following the right syntax or not. So, so as an example, I want to show you a quick example. So here, if you see, it's new, in progress, finish, and every time I land on this page, the default value is in progress. Just by changing add track value from in progress to finished, you'll be surprised. When I click run, this is your outcome. So within a matter of minute, you figure out what are all the changes you have to make, what are all the new values you have to add. And once you decided what kind of user experience you are looking for, you can build everything here. And the advantage is you can download it. And once you download it, again, Salesforce is amazingly handling this website. So once you click download, it will download as a zip file, and each and every component will be saved on its respective file format. Isn't it crazy? You don't have to even open it in a Word document and then upload it into your SFTX or VS Code, whatever the IDEs you are using. You don't have to do anything. So everything will be saved on its specific file format. Lastly, they didn't stop it there. The innovation still happens from the Salesforce side. They give you an ability to open it in a playground. So how many of you use the JS Fiddler? So JavaScript Fiddler is yes. So there what you can do is you can have HTML section and then CSS section and then your JavaScript section, and it automatically combines each other and you can see the result right in there. That is the same feature you get it in SLDS website. Again, I didn't download and install any package on my computer. I don't have to set up any IDE. I didn't connect my Salesforce application with my to test what I want to build. Everything is on the fly and everything is on the cloud. So you don't have to set up, or you don't need a setup to start trying anything on your own. Lastly, as I said, Salesforce didn't stop its evaluation. You can also connect your developer or your sandbox directly to your SLDS. So once you do it, and you can actually upload your entire project which sits in your computer, and once you upload it, it will directly reflect in your Salesforce org. So after you make all the changes, if you're happy with the end result, just by clicking the save button, you would have noticed that save button is disabled, because after you linked SLDS with your sandbox org, the save button will be enabled, and making all those changes, click that button will directly impact on your Salesforce org. So it is very, very powerful. And since we have very limited time, we couldn't take you to a complete tour of how SLDS will help you from an user experience designing process. So we encourage you to go play around and try to understand. If you still have any questions, you know we will be here to help you. So after you click this link, this is your landing page, and hereafter you know. Now I want to give back to Adi and I want to try to understand how he feel after seeing the demo and giving a walkthrough of SLDS.
Thank you. First time, to be frank, first time when I see this SLDS, my feeling is, why it's not working? Okay.
It's a bad UX design.
My feeling is this. I have a magic in my hand. If I want to design something, yes, I can able to do that, just like that. But there are some tools, even though you're not a diehard coder or diehard designer or something, but still there are some tools available which you can use for designing the system. But how many people know? Can you tell someone that what is the best designing tool? Best designing prototyping tool? There are many, right? But for me, the best is,
You are absolutely
yes, that is the best one, right? So anything, any idea or any problem statement anyone tells, just take pen and paper or whiteboard, you start writing. That is the best designing tool. But we are in the digital world. There are n number of tools, and we highlighted here only the tools which are supporting SLDS design system. So if you are a diehard coder and you write and you love coding, then first one, directly Lightning Design System, using that URL, you can use the system and you can download, because it's an open source, which you can download and you can use. And if you have any feedback, you can directly give feedback to SalesForce. And if you use Sketch tool, and there are some libraries, SalesForce is giving you the libraries directly, you can import into Sketch tool, where your Sketch tool automatically supports all the SLDS libraries. You can download that and you can use. And last two, those two are like, you have to pay for that. Those are paid tools which are supporting SLDS fully. Mockflow is one of the good tool, not 100% supporting, but most of the components are there. Just drag and drop, rather than you write code that generate HTML and .js file or anything, that supports everything. Avani Creator, that I really like, because it has like all drag and drop, and your design, if you're a designer, drag and drop, designing is completed, you gave demo, everything is good, then you just click download, it will download all the HTML, JS file and everything. You can directly give to your developer saying like, hey, here is a code, just concentrate on backend code. Like what are the actual logic you have to implement, just concentrate on that one. That's a very powerful tool. I really liked, I use that one personally. I really like that. We talked a lot, right? We started at UX designing. We started what are the real flaws that we see every time, and what all things available in SLDS and all. Like, can you tell me what is the top 5 reasons that me or anyone has to use SLDS?
Perfect. So I can give any number of reasons, and I started seeing the timer. We have 5 minutes, so I want to stick to 5. And I'll start with number 1 is lightning look and feel, right? So I already asked this question. Most of you said like, yes, you like the lightning look and feel. And I'm not here to argue that whether it's powerful like classic, but the look and feel, I stick to look and feel. So lightning look and feel is perfect. Nobody can disagree that. Then cross-browser compatibility, you don't have to build anything specifically for a specific browser. It automatically adapts. Doesn't matter whether you are a Chrome lover or a Firefox lover, or I believe someone is still liking Safari. If you're a Safari lover, you don't have to worry about opening your website on any of these browsers. Number 3, portable device friendly. Of course, we live most of our life using our mobile phones and iPads, so it's already covered. Number 4, it's fast loading time. When I say and when I mean fast loading time, like as part of Lightning, everything loads at the beginning, and every time you make an interaction, it won't take back, like each and request is not going back to the server, so you will get a visual experience of, yes, the system is really fast. Lastly, it is free. You don't have to pay Salesforce to get Salesforce Lightning Design System to build your own app. All right, so here are the resources. So of course, and I believe everybody agrees that Trailhead is always an opening door for you to learn about everything, but at the same time, don't stop it there, okay? So don't think like Prag and Adi told us that after you do this Trailhead module, you know everything. That is not 100% true. So what we recommend you to do it is you go and explore more by looking into Salesforce Lightning Design System website. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to Don Robbins, who is with us in the room. So he gave us a very good content on Pluralsight, which is play-by-play Lightning UX design process. And we have the QR code. If you take a picture, it will take you to the place. and feel free to go look into that 1 hour long but super basic and well explained UX design process. Okay. If you think you didn't take good pictures as part of the slide, don't worry. This is the bit.ly link. Make sure that you take a picture of this and then you go and download the entire PDF. So the entire presentation will be available as a PDF format, and you know how to reach us. And if you have any questions, I think we have still 2 more minutes to answer your questions, but if we couldn't, we'll be at one corner of this room, and we are open to answer as many questions as we can. Thank you so much.
I hope everyone's still there. So just kind of want to do a little bit of a run through. Now, a lot of what they had shared is kind of a introduction to intimidation, right? When everyone joins this particular curriculum, you know, it's, oh, Salesforce, I really don't know that, that coding, yeah, I don't know. And then you go through day 1 and 2 and you feel quite comfortable. Okay, I could do this. I could apply to this stuff. I can follow these people. I can engage in these conversations. I can go ahead and read. I can keep up with curriculum. I can keep up with projects. Purposely, what today is for is to show you if everyone could do it, everyone would do it. That being said, it's not even near impossible to do. In fact, what you saw, and I'd like to give you a little bit of commentary on Salesforce. They are the largest CRM, customer relationship management company in the world. They're in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which is the 30 largest companies in this country, United States of America. They also understand that their capability so far exceeds their user experience. And because of such, because they wanted to make sure that they were the most advanced company and always on the cutting edge, they delegated the ability or the task of teaching the end user how to use it. Because they're so far advanced, the normal person or the average person, such as myself, that subscribes to Salesforce doesn't actually know how to use all the tools. So even I had to go ahead and hire an agency to do it for me. Be that as it may, Salesforce does understand the profit potential inherent in the sense that they're offering something over here, but their users only understand this. Meaning it is up to them to say, okay, how do we go ahead and lower that gap? How do we decrease it? And the answer to that is to make things more functional, to make things more easily able to be understood on the user experience side. So what you saw in Lightning Design Developer System is exactly that. Things that other platforms and many years ago, or even as recently as last year, developers had to do in terms of all the coding, and you have to upload this, to download to this, to move over to this. All of that's done for you. They spent a lot of money doing so. And also the coding options you saw, which I suspect would allow some people to feel like, whoa, you know, Anna, well, I don't know how to code. It's above my pay grade. There are companies that went ahead and said, okay, this is such a big opportunity. Many people are not going to know how to code. So for a monthly fee, we'll go ahead and create a drag and drop menu, like the suggestion that they had for Avani. Avani is $90 a month. It offers you 10 complete projects, meaning you can take on 10 different clients if you were working for an agency. And of course, if you're working for Salesforce, they have that all in-house, right? But if you decided to work for an agency and you said, I don't really know the coding part, I would like to just do a drag and drop where almost you're take Shopify, which we all know, add 21 days of studying, and now all of a sudden you equal 122,000 a year job, right? So Avani, which is $90 a month, and to do 10 projects, say you have 10 clients. If you have 10 clients, God bless, right? But say you have 10 clients that are each paying you $100 an hour, say you work for 80 hours a week, comes out to $8,000 a week times 4.3 weeks a month, which comes out to roughly $35,000 a month. I don't think you mind spending $90, right? Like the numbers are there. So I don't want you to be discouraged or say, whoa, $90. No, you're not getting paid. And I'm being generous. I'm underestimating when I say 100 an hour. The Salesforce agency that we hired was $165 an hour. So you could do the math from there. But I did want to offer a real life example of what it looks like. What does user experience look like? What does the job entail? And the reason we brought this to such a new audience per se is because you're still uncorrupted. You still have a user experience eye. One of the things that's most difficult for me is when I'm building stuff, I need those that are the user experience side to feel comfortable enough to share with me, hey, Ant, this doesn't make sense, or I don't know how to do this, or I don't know how to do that. Because I am corrupted. I don't have a user experience eye anymore. I have a developer eye, I have a visionary eye. You're so perfectly situated and qualified for this position because you're a newcomer, you can take a look at something and say, this makes no sense. This should be over there and this should be over there, which actually equals the criteria to be the top of the field. Because again, if you have an uncorrupted eye from the user experience side, but the knowledge and how to create it, there's no one better than you. You actually are qualified to be number one in the industry. So let's continue. And all of these links are going to be in our follow-up email, of course. Now, I want to introduce you to a gentleman by the name of Tom Bissett. Now, Tom is just so super impressive, right? 1,844 badges, 784,000 points, and I rounded down, right, and 25, and 325 trails. Now, to put that into perspective, we're looking to accomplish one trail together for, I believe, 23,000 points, and there's probably 3 or 4, maybe even 5 badges associated with it. This gentleman is 10 times accredited professional with 5+ years of experience, and he's just, I mean, come on, he's impressive. So we're going to include this in the follow-up email as well, but it's somebody you're going to want to follow, right? Like that makes sense. Let's do this stuff. You see his super badges. He has many more, all 20 of his skills. Tom's a bit of a show-off, and we say that with all the glee and love that we could. About me, this is his company website, and what do you know? 1 to 20 employees. Now, when you have 20 employees, let's say he has 10, and each one is booking out at $1.50 an hour. So let's say 10 different employees, and in this world, you don't really work only 40 hours. There's so much money, you could find the time for the extra 10, 15 hours. So let's say 50 hours a week times 10 employees comes out to 500 hours. Let's say that it's $100 an hour. That comes out to 50,000 a week, right? 500 employees times 100, yeah. Right, okay. Yeah, 50,000, but let's say it's really $1.50. You're looking at $75,000 a week. Not bad. What do you think the margins are for that? In fact, Tom could realistically offer his employees, all right, I'll let you keep 80%, right? Like 80% is really fair, which means of 75,000, 20% of that comes out to what, 15,000? So Tom, and again, I don't know Tom, I don't know any of this to be true, but a little back of the envelope math can go ahead and share that Tom might be making 15,000 a week, passive. Right? Now, of course, he probably does his own stuff too. It's not like he just sits there. So 15,000 plus whatever. So he's impressive. The reason we show you who Tom is because this individual, by the name of Ben, wants to give you a walkthrough on the day in the life of a Salesforce designer. But Ben created this presentation in congruency with Tom's Salesforce Salesforce approved trailhead. Now, I haven't taken this, obviously. You could see Anthony has 0 badges and 0 points. You can see I haven't done anything because I want to do it together. And what I would like to figure out, what I would like to solve is if we watch this, will we be able to answer this? And I don't know the answer to that, but if we can, it would be pretty cool to get a couple of points right away. What's really great for anybody watching this is, which actually kind of begs a moral question. If I'm giving the answers here, that means you're not really solving the answers for yourself. So let's figure it out today. If that's the case, we just won't do it again, but let's do it together. So let's watch this, have a bit of a keen eye, a bit of a keen ear. It's only 14 minutes. I'm pretty sure I provided this for you already, but if I didn't, let me do it again because maybe you want to follow along. And let's go ahead and watch.
I'm Tom Bassett, and thanks for joining me on this virtual rerun of the life of a SalesForce designer. During my presentation, I may make some forward-looking statements. Be sure to make any purchasing decisions based on products or features that are generally available. My name is Tom Bassett, and I'm a solution architect based in the UK. I am an answers leader and proudly have over 14,000 answers to my name, as well as being an expert author for SalesForce Ben and a co-leader of the London Architect Community Group. Thank you so much for tuning in for this virtual recap. It means a lot to be able to share this with you and be able to spread the message of the value of SalesForce designers to a wider audience. Let's talk about why design matters. Firstly, companies see an 85% increase in ROI from design thinking. Approximately 70% of companies say that design is reshaping their products. Right now, around 30% of SalesForce job descriptions mention design. I expect this to only grow within the next few years. Let's talk about the fact that we are all designers, whether we are actively influencing or physically building a system. We all design, and we have a role to play to influence the design of a system. Let's start by thinking as a SalesForce admin. You want to design a system you can love as much as your users do. A marketer might want to design a solution that is intuitive and increases engagement. A consultant or a business analyst would be driven to design a system that is successful and meets the business's requirements. An architect or developer would be dealing or developing solutions that are designed to be accessible to all. And lastly, a user experience designer should be embodying human-centered design in everything they do. Let's talk about a typical project team. This could be made up of people in different roles, including admins, consultants, developers, architects, and designers. The message here is that if you do not have a full-time designer that's part of your project team, you shouldn't forget about these responsibilities. It's important that somebody else within the project team plays the role of a designer, or that these responsibilities are shared via multiple members of the project team, so that it's simply not overlooked or forgotten, because without a successful design, your user adoption is inevitably going to be impacted. Human-centered design is the key to high user adoption. I embody human-centered design by thinking about people's emotional needs as well as their functional needs. I actively listen to users and customers in everything I do to ensure that I am meeting all of their different types of needs, and I'm designing with a human element at heart. Let's talk about personas and understand some common personas and their motivations. A service manager persona would want to ensure the best support experience for their customers, whereas a partner user would probably be more interested in an easy way to manage their deals and submit their leads. A marketing manager would be more driven to make engaging journeys that improve retention. Now let's move on to jobs to be done. Jobs to be done are what a user, customer, or partner wants to achieve. You should obtain these jobs to be done by actively listening to users and customers via interviews, shadowing, and surveys. We have emotional, social, and functional needs. Be sure to address all of these as part of your jobs to be done. Ask open-ended questions so you are able to dig into the motivations behind what users do and why they do it in a certain way. This is difficult for me as a solution architect, but at this point in the design journey, you should be thinking in a solution agnostic way. It doesn't help to start thinking about solutions at this point, because ultimately this could steer your jobs to be done in a certain direction based on whatever solution you're thinking about, rather than what your users, customers actually need. Let's talk about user stories, because it all starts with a great story. This describes a feature from a user's point of view. You need to assemble the right team when defining user stories, which may consist of a product manager, developers, admins, and super users. A user story should follow the INVEST framework, which means it's independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, and testable. A user story usually follows this framework as a I want so that. Within your user story, you should provide clear acceptance criteria so that when it comes around to testing, you can easily ensure that the requirements have been met. This is why acceptance criteria is usually provided as a pass-fail type outcome. Now let's talk about prototyping. During the design process, there are different types of prototypes that will come into play. The first one is a low fidelity prototype, which is a sketch. It's typically hand drawn on paper, and it's used in the earlier stages of design. A mid-fidelity prototype is produced using a dedicated tool, and it contains images as well as words. A high-fidelity prototype is usually produced towards the end of the prototyping journey or process, and is an interactive mock-up close to how the final product will look or feel. Whatever you're designing, you need to ensure that you are making it accessible. Think about navigation and users that navigate via mice, keyboards, touchscreen, voice. They should all be able to get around the system and ultimately get whatever it is they need to get done. Structure. It's important to use a logical structure. Break up pages that have lots of content with visual sections. Pop your content onto cards like I've done on this slide, and use clear landmarks so those using a screen reader can understand the structure of the page. Standards. There are certain standards in place, including the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, which ensure colors have the right contrast. You are not using graphics that flash too often, and your images have alternative text, so those using a screen reader can understand what the image is being used to represent. Lastly, we're going to talk about color. You should use color as an indicator. Red usually means something is overdue, whereas green usually means something is complete. You should supplement this with colored icons, for example, a tick or a cross. That way, you do not exclude those that might not be able to perceive color. Now let's move on to how SalesForce can help. The SalesForce Lightning design system has accessibility built in. Be sure you are using this framework when producing any custom components, and that you are considering the accessibility of what you are building. SalesForce has built-in tools and features to help, and we will cover a few of these in the next few slides. The platform encourages feedback, so you should do the same with your users. That way you can design in an iterative process. The platform provides assistance, so be sure to use features that can help guide your users through a particular process. The platform is agile, which means it can develop and evolve as you do and your business needs change. Now I'm going to embrace my inner Ruth, and we are going to match jobs to be done to Salesforce features. Let's start by thinking about a sales manager. They ultimately want to guide their sales reps through the sales process. Within Salesforce, you could use a path to structure the process from a deal being created to a deal being closed won. You could use validation rules to guide users to enter information that is valid. You could use dynamic forms to break up large bodies of fields over multiple tabs and only show fields when it's absolutely necessary to do so. But also structure information collection using flow to guide users through a complicated process that perhaps they could pause and come back to at a later point. Now let's think about a service manager who wants to empower customers to self-serve. You could use Salesforce knowledge to help achieve this goal by encouraging agents to insert knowledge articles into outgoing emails and therefore coach or guide the customer on what to do should they face the same problem or issue again. You could build on this further by developing an Einstein bot that could serve up these knowledge articles to customers without the need for an agent or a human being to actually even become involved. You could use Experience Cloud to deliver an online knowledge base so customers can search and get the answers they need independently. Additionally, you could package this Experience Cloud using Mobile Publisher that would allow you to offer the solution to customers on the App Store or the Google Play Store. So in summary, you should be designing for humans with a human element at heart. You should be designing a system that is accessible so that you are meeting the needs of everybody and aren't excluding anybody. And the Salesforce platform can aid design. Use the built-in tools and features to help achieve a system that is great via its design. If you want to go on to demonstrate your own dream designer, then there are different ways and resources you can use to help this. You could go on to become certified as a user experience designer. You could check out the tools on Trailhead, including the Trail Mix, which can be accessed via this bit.ly link. Alternatively, or in addition to, you could go on to become a strategy designer and demonstrate your abilities with this certification. Just because this is the end of the virtual presentation doesn't mean it has to be the end of our conversation. Feel free to add comments, reach out to me on Twitter, LinkedIn, or the Trailhead community to continue the conversation about how the life of a Salesforce designer can be embedded within your organization or your way of thinking to ultimately deliver systems that are great via their design. Thanks so much for tuning in to this virtual recap.
Super cool. So the gentleman, Tom, he's so impressive, and his handle, his username ends with 92. So I'm assuming he was born in 1992. It kind of looks like that's about the age. And imagine being that age, being that successful, impressive, and again, we could speculate to what his agency does, but we could kind of agree that on a back of the envelope type calculation, they're doing quite well. So this is his Trailhead. And again, I gave you the link, and I'm kind of curious what it is, right? So let's kind of find out together. So explore human-centered design. Now, I'm pretty sure we just heard him speak about that. So I kind of want to scroll to the questions. What criteria does relationship design add to the user-centered design requirements of desirability, feasibility, and viability? So now that we've read the question, we reread it. What criteria does relationship design? So it's a lot of answers. So let's kind of scroll up. Human-centered design, relationship design. So where does that start? Historically, geared towards the next chapter design pushes. Relationship design is the creation of experience that fosters ongoing engagement and strengthens connections between people, companies, community over time. So what was the question? What criteria does relationship design add? Okay, so I think that was it, right? Connection between people, companies, and communities. People, am I missing something? People, companies. Huh. All right, so let's continue looking. Can we put it into practice? Experience design. Interesting. Each other, engage, and okay. Connected to each other, engage over time, and community. All right, so we know, so let's just have a little fun, right? So when you know one of the answers, especially if it's multiple choice, you could start crossing them out. Community is a word. It seems like it's one of them. Relatability is one of them. I'm going to go with A. What are the goals of relationship design? Design for long-term, encouraging social connection, engagement, and values. All right, let's see what we got. Can't catch a break. What criteria? What was the answer? Oh, I get another shot at it. Okay. So credibility, relatability, emotionality wasn't it. Ambiguity just doesn't sound like a word you want to have as an answer. Let's go D. Okay, so it's not a perfect match, and that's fine. We just want to see if it was or was not. Now let me get off screen share. Okay, so we're going to leave it there, hour 15 today. Now that we have a really, really great holistic view, right? Like that was the point. We want, day one is what does it take? What do we need to anticipate? What should our expectations be over the next 21 days? How do we effectively schedule ourselves for it? How do we put ourselves in a position to succeed? How do we get started? Then yesterday was, okay, now that we've accepted this role, how do we go ahead and make sure that we put ourselves in a position to succeed by building a support system? When we have questions, now think about what we just did in terms of that quiz. We had a question. Is it fair that we could say that we could go to one of the communities we joined yesterday, one of the Twitter groups, one of the anything and say, hey, listen, I was on this question. I didn't really see an exact answer. I chose this. It was wrong. Has anyone else had experience with this? I don't know who's going to answer you. I don't know if anyone does answer you. I don't know if it takes 10 questions for someone to answer you, but I do know you being seen is important to those that are seeing you in those communities. You build a support system. Today is let's take an overall approach. What is the position we're getting into? What are the requirements? What is the obligations? What should we expect? Tomorrow, we get actually into the nitty-gritty of it. So if you've accomplished these 3 days, congratulations. You are fully equipped to go forward. Now we get into it. So tomorrow, we're going to get into chapter 1, section 1, And what I'm going to do, because I'm learning pretty quickly that there doesn't look to be much tutorial, it's more, well, not tutorial, much video. It seems to be much more verbal, like words. So I'm going to go ahead and create, which I have been doing, the 10 most probable questions to each section with the 10 correct answers. And before you say, well, Ant, I just saw you get one wrong. Well, that was on the fly, right? So let's trust the process here. And it isn't just me. I have a lot of resources at my disposal that allow me to create the most effective program, including what if I knew a SalesForce certification examination moderator or grader, right? So the point is we're going to have everything we need. I want to put it into flashcard form. I then want to go ahead and put it into some type of video tutorial. We will see how we can do that, but the flashcards are coming. So tomorrow we will go through chapters 1 through however many for the first hour or two. Then we'll go ahead and then we'll send in the follow-up email, the flashcards. Maybe we'll even spend the last hour doing them. The goal is every single day we go over the material, we learn the material, we walk away knowing the material, and let that build to the next day, to the next day, to the next day, until you go ahead and schedule your examination. You're going to be quite surprised. Wow, I actually know this stuff. And it's not because you're the smartest person or you're the least smartest. Learning is not something that is about content. It's about style. So for instance, if I take your hand and put it on a stove, I don't need you to know the chemical equations of the calculations of the burning rates and the skin melt rate. You're gonna know it's hot and not to do it, right? So I see somebody wrote something. Lots of notes. That was good stuff. Thank you. Yeah, so in building this program, we want to, the biggest accomplishment or the biggest goal, the biggest, I guess, milestone we want is we want to create all the content for you. We want you to take notes and we want you to be a participant. That being said, we want that to be an addition to everything we're going to provide for you, because we want to make sure that we provide that if you stepped back and just enjoyed the video and followed along, if you did just that and then followed along with exactly what was given to you, is that the recipe to pass? And if the answer is yes, then we have something. If the answer is no, then it leaves it dependent on each individual, like Robbie's smarter than Bill, who's smarter than Jeff, who's smarter than blah, blah, blah. And if our program only allows X amount of people to pass, well, that's not a good program. So please do everything you would like on your end, but know that we're going to deliver everything that you need. And tomorrow's going to be super fun. So I hope everyone eats their Wheaties tonight, gets a good night's sleep, wakes up, goes to the gym, takes a vitamin, has a nice breakfast, nice lunch, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.